Hello, hello. Welcome to the Easy English Podcast. I'm Hannah, and I'm here with my co-host, Alex. How are you today, Alex?
Hi, Hannah. I'm doing great, thank you. And a big warm welcome to all our listeners out there. Whether you are walking, cooking, or just relaxing, we are so happy to have you with us today.
Yes, we really are. Today, we are talking about a topic that I know a lot of our listeners struggle with. It is something I used to get confused about all the time when I was first practicing. We are talking about the difference between will and going to.
Oh yes, this is a classic, will versus going to. It's one of those grammar points where people think, don't they just mean the same thing? They both look at the future, right? But in English, we use them for very different situations.
Exactly. When I was a beginner, I thought, hey, if I want to talk about tomorrow, I can just use whichever one I want. But then my teachers would look at me funny. So, Alex, let's start with the big core difference. What is the main thing we need to keep in our minds?
Well, Hannah, the easiest way to think about it is this. It's all about preparation. Did you make a plan before speaking, or are you deciding right now, in this very second?
Preparation. Okay, I like that word. So one of them is for plans we already made, and the other is for things we decide right now, in the moment?
Exactly. Let's start with going to. We use going to when we already have a plan. We made the decision before we started speaking. For example, if I bought a movie ticket yesterday for tonight, I would say, I am going to watch a movie tonight.
Right, because you already have the ticket. The plan was made in the past. It's a solid plan. So I'm going to watch a movie.
Yes, it's a pre-made plan. Now, what about will? We use will for spontaneous decisions. Spontaneous just means you decide right now, at this exact moment, with no preparation.
Ah, like when the phone rings. If my phone starts ringing right now, I don't say, I am going to answer it because I didn't plan for the phone to ring. Instead, I say, I'll answer it.
Spot on, Hannah. That is the perfect example. The phone rings, you make a quick decision in that microsecond, and you say, I will answer it. Or as we usually say in natural speech, I'll answer it.
Ooh, I'll. That's the short form, the contraction. We use that a lot, don't we?
We do. In spoken English, we almost always shorten I will to I'll, you will to you'll, and they will to they'll. It sounds much more natural.
Okay, so I'll answer it. Let's do another quick example to make this super clear. Imagine we are at a restaurant. The waiter comes to our table. What do we say?
Well, you look at the menu, you see the lasagna and the pizza. You choose in that exact moment. You say to the waiter, I will have the lasagna, please. Or, I'll have the pizza. You don't say, I am going to have the pizza, unless you decided that at home before you even walked into the restaurant.
Aha! That makes so much sense. Because when I sit down, I am choosing right then. So I'll have the pasta is the natural choice. But what if my friend asks me before we leave the house, what are you going to order tonight?
Perfect question. Since your friend is asking about your future plan, and maybe you already decided hours ago that you want pizza, you can say, I am going to order the pizza. It's a plan in your head.
I see. So I am going to order pizza because the decision was already made. But when the waiter actually stands next to me and I look at him to speak, I say, I'll have the pizza, please.
You got it. You're a natural at this, Hannah. It's really about that moment of decision. Is it a new decision or an old decision?
New decision versus old decision. I love that. It's so simple. Let's think about another situation. What if it's raining outside and I see my friend doesn't have an umbrella?
Okay, let's look at that. You see your friend, you notice they have no umbrella, and you feel helpful. You decide right there to lend them yours. What would you say?
I would say, don't worry, I'll lend you my umbrella because I just realized they needed one. It's a quick, helpful offer.
Exactly. Offers are almost always with will. Because when we offer to do something for someone, we usually do it spontaneously. I'll help you with those heavy bags. or I'll open the door for you.
By the way, if you are enjoying this episode, taking a second to subscribe or leave a like really helps our channel reach more learners around the world.
It truly does. And please leave your questions in the comments, as we love reading and answering them. Anyway, back to our future plans.
Yes, you wouldn't say, I am going to open the door for you as you walk toward the door, because that sounds like a scheduled event on your calendar. Like at 2 p.m., I am going to open the door. That sounds very robotic and strange.
Yes, exactly. According to my schedule, I am going to open the door now. No, nobody talks like that. You just say, I'll get that, or I'll open it. It is immediate.
That makes total sense. So will is for those sudden decisions, like making an offer on the spot. But now I have a tricky question for you, Alex. What about predictions? You know, when we guess what will happen in the future, like the weather or who is going to win a game. I feel like I hear people use both of them here, and it gets really confusing.
That is the perfect question, Hannah. Predictions are what I like to call the prediction trap for English learners, because in many cases, you actually can use both. But there is a very important rule of thumb that makes one of them much better depending on what you see in front of you.
Oh, a rule of thumb. I love those. It means a simple, practical guide, right? Tell me, what is the secret for predictions?
The secret is looking for present evidence. Think of it like being a detective. If you can see, hear, or feel physical proof right now in the present, you should use going to.
Physical proof. Give me an example of that. Let's say I'm looking at the sky.
Perfect. You look up and the sky is completely black. There are dark, heavy clouds, and you feel the first drop of rain on your nose. You have clear, physical proof right in front of you. In this case, you say it's going to rain. It feels certain because of the evidence.
Ah, because I can literally see the dark clouds. It's going to rain. But what if the sky is totally blue right now, but I just have a general feeling that it might rain later this afternoon because it's autumn?
Exactly. If you don't have that direct, immediate evidence and you are just making a guess based on your opinion or general knowledge, you use will. You would say, I think it'll rain later today. You are just guessing. You don't have the dark clouds staring you in the face right this second.
Oh, I see. So going to is like saying, look at the evidence, this is happening next. And will is more like, in my opinion, this might happen. Let me try another one. What about a football match? If one team is winning 5-0 and there are only 2 minutes left in the game, which one do I use?
Well, let's look at the evidence. The score is 5-0 and the clock is almost at the end. That is huge, undeniable evidence. So what would you say?
I would say they are going to win because it's basically a done deal. The proof is right there on the scoreboard.
Spot on. They are going to win. But what if the match hasn't started yet? It is Friday night, the big game is on Sunday, and you are just talking with your friends about who you think is better. What do you say then?
Then, because it's just my opinion and anything could happen on Sunday, I would say, I think United will win on Sunday. No evidence yet, just my hope or my guess.
You got it. I think United will win. Notice how you naturally used I think with will. That is another great clue for our listeners. We very often use will with phrases like I think, I believe, I hope, or I'm sure.
Oh, that is a fantastic tip. I think it will be a nice day tomorrow. I hope you'll like the food. We use those phrases because they show it's just our personal thought, not a physical fact we can see right now.
Exactly. Let's practice that. Hannah, imagine your friend is studying for a very big exam. She has been studying for weeks, she knows all the answers, and she did great on all the practice tests. You want to encourage her. What do you say?
Since I know she studied so hard and did well on the practice tests, that feels like strong evidence. So I could say, you've studied so hard,
you are going to pass this exam easily.
Beautiful. Yes, you are going to pass because you are pointing at the evidence of her hard work. But what if she is just nervous before the test and you just want to say something sweet to make her feel better without knowing how much she studied?
Then I would just say, don't worry, I'm sure you'll do great. Because it's my positive thought for her. You will do great.
Perfect. You see how natural that is? It's all about how much real-time connection there is to the present moment. Going to is strongly connected to what we can see or what we have already planned in the present. Will is like a jump into the future, either a sudden decision we just made, a promise, an offer, or a general opinion.
It really is starting to make sense now. I used to think of them as just two words for the exact same thing, but they actually have their own special jobs. But Alex, there is something else that always confuses me when I listen to native speakers. They almost never say going to clearly. It always sounds like gonna. Is that grammatically correct, or is it just lazy English?
That is a very common question, Anna. You are absolutely right. In everyday spoken English, going to almost always becomes gonna. For example, instead of saying, I am going to buy some groceries, we say, I'm gonna buy some groceries. It is not exactly lazy English. It is just natural connected speech. Our mouths like to take the easiest path when we speak quickly. However, you should write going to in formal situations, like an email to your boss or a university essay.
Ah, I see. So gonna is for speaking and informal texting with friends, but going to is for writing formally. Let me try using gonna in a sentence to see if I sound natural. I'm gonna clean my room this afternoon. How is that?
That sounded incredibly natural. And notice how you also shortened I am to I'm. That is another thing we do. We don't usually say, I am gonna. We say, I'm gonna. Or instead of she is going to, we say, she's gonna. Let's try another one. How would you say, we are going to watch a movie tonight, using the natural spoken form?
Let me try. We're gonna watch a movie tonight. Wow, that flows much faster off the tongue. It feels much less stiff than saying, we are going to.
It really does. And here's a little secret for our listeners. You only use gonna when going to is followed by a verb. For example, in I'm going to watch a movie, watch is a verb. So you can say, I'm gonna watch a movie. But if you are going to a physical place like the supermarket, you cannot say gonna.
Wait, really? That is a very important detail. Let me make sure I understand. If I say, I am going to school, school is a place, not an action verb. So I cannot say, I'm gonna school?
Exactly. You cannot say, I'm gonna school. That sounds incorrect to a native speaker. You must say, I'm going to school. You can only use gonna when there is an action verb coming next, like, I'm gonna study at school. Here, study is the verb, so gonna works perfectly.
That is such a helpful rule. I'm gonna study is correct because study is an action, but I am going to school stays as it is because school is a place.
I think a lot of learners make that mistake because they want to use gonna for everything.
They do, and it's a very easy mistake to make, but once you hear the difference, it becomes second nature. Let's practice with will as well. We also shorten will a lot when we speak. We use contractions like I'll, you'll, he'll, she'll, and they'll.
Yes, I noticed you used you'll earlier when you said, I'm sure you will do great. It sounds so much quicker than you will.
It does. In fact, native speakers almost always use the short version I'll instead of I will when making those quick, sudden decisions we talked about earlier. If the phone rings, we don't usually say, I will answer it. We say, I'll get it. It's fast, sharp, and immediate.
I'll get it. Yes, I hear that in movies all the time. What about the negative forms? For going to, the negative is not going to or not gonna. But what about will not?
The contraction for will not is won't. This is a tricky word for many learners because the pronunciation changes quite a bit. It is not willn't, it is won't. For example, I won't forget your birthday, I promise.
Ah, won't. It has that round O sound, like in the word go or home. I won't do it. Sometimes learners confuse won't with want. Can you help us hear the difference?
Of course, this is a very common pronunciation challenge. Want, as in I want a cup of coffee, has a short to open ah sound, want. But won't, the negative of will, has a round closing O sound, won't. Listen to them side by side. I want to go versus I won't go.
I can hear it clearly when you say it like that. I want to go is about my desire. I won't go means I will not go, a refusal or a future plan not to do something. Let's do a little game to test this. I will give you a situation, and you tell me if I should use will, won't, or gonna.
I love games. Let's do it. I'm ready.
Okay, first situation. You are sitting on the sofa, and suddenly you feel very cold. You decide to close the window. What do you say?
Since I'm sitting there and make a sudden, instant decision because of how I feel right now, I would use will. I'd say, brr, it's cold. I'll close the window.
Perfect. Now, second situation. You bought a ticket for a concert 3 weeks ago. The concert is tonight. Your friend asks what your plans are for this evening. What do you say?
This is a plan I made weeks ago, and I even have the ticket as physical evidence. So I must use going to or gonna. I would tell my friend, I'm gonna go to a concert tonight.
Spot on. Okay, third situation. You look at the window and see huge, dark, heavy clouds in the sky. It looks like rain is coming any second. What do you say to your friend?
Those dark clouds are clear physical evidence in the present moment. So I will use going to. I'd say, look at those clouds. It's gonna rain.
Exactly. And what if you were just looking at a calendar, thinking about next month, and you say, I hope it doesn't rain during our holiday?
Since that is just my hope and my personal opinion about the future, with no clouds in sight yet, I'd say, I hope it won't rain during our holiday. It's a prediction based on feelings, not evidence.
You make this sound so easy, Alex. I think our listeners are really getting the hang of this. It really comes down to, is it a quick reaction or a personal belief? Then use will. Is it a solid plan or something with clear evidence right now? Then use gonna.
You summarized that perfectly, Hannah. It really is that simple once you stop worrying about the complex grammar rules and just look at the connection to the present moment. Will jump straight to the future, while going to has its feet firmly planted in the present.
It really does feel simpler when you put it that way. But you know, Alex, even when we understand the rules, it is easy to hesitate when we are actually speaking. Let's do a quick quiz to help our listeners practice. I'll describe a situation, and you tell me which one sounds more natural and why. Listeners, try to guess the answer in your head before Alex explains.
I love quizzes. I'm ready. Bring on the first scenario, Hannah.
Okay, scenario number 1. You are sitting on the sofa and your phone starts ringing on the table across the room. You stand up and say to your roommate, "Don't worry, I get it." Should you say, "I'll get it," or "I'm gonna get it"?
Ooh, this is a classic. The phone ringing is sudden. You didn't plan for the phone to ring at exactly 3 o'clock, right? It's a quick, instant decision made at the moment of speaking. So the correct answer is, I'll get it, using will.
Perfect. Saying "I'm gonna get it" in that situation would sound a bit strange, like you had a master plan to walk over to the phone before it even started ringing. Okay, scenario number 2. You have been feeling very tired lately, so you have made a firm decision to change your habits. You say to your doctor, "Starting tomorrow, I sleep 8 hours every night." Is it
I'll sleep or I'm gonna sleep.
Since you said starting tomorrow and you made a firm decision beforehand, this is a plan. It's an intention you already formulated. So the correct choice is, I'm going to sleep 8 hours every night. Or, if you want to sound very natural and casual, I'm going to sleep 8 hours every night.
Spot on. It's a goal or a plan you already decided on. What about this one? You are walking down the street with a friend and you see a bakery window. There is a delicious chocolate cupcake inside. You suddenly say, "Oh, look at that. I think I buy one." Will or going to?
Haha, the keyword here is think, and the fact that you just saw it. It's a sudden desire and an instant decision. You didn't wake up this morning planning to buy that specific cupcake. So you should say, I think I'll buy one. We very often use will with I think or I don't think for this exact reason.
Yes, I think I'll is such a common phrase in English. I use it all the time. I think I'll make some tea. I think I'll go for a walk. It's always for those spontaneous little thoughts. Let's do one more. Your friend is moving to a new apartment this weekend. They have a lot of heavy boxes. You want to offer your help. Do you say, I will help you move on Saturday, or I am going to help you move on Saturday?
This is a great one because both are actually grammatically correct, but they mean slightly different things. If you're making a helpful offer right now in the conversation, you say, don't worry, I'll help you on Saturday. It's a promise or a warm offer. But if you already talked to your family and made plans and someone asks you, why are you busy on Saturday? You would say, I'm going to help my friend move, because by then it has become an established plan in your calendar.
That is a very important distinction, Alex. Will is great for making the offer directly to the person. I'll carry that for you, or I'll wash the dishes. It shows you are ready to act right now. But once the plan is set in stone and you are talking to someone else about your schedule, it becomes going to.
Exactly. You see, listeners, once you understand the feeling behind the words, it becomes much more intuitive. Let's give you a quick rule of thumb, a simple mental shortcut you can use whenever you are stuck.
Oh, we love rules of thumb. What is it?
Ask yourself, did I know I was going to do this before I started this sentence? If the answer is yes, use going to. If the answer is no, because you just decided this very second, use will.
Wow, that is so simple and practical. Let me try that rule. If I'm holding a glass of water and I spill some on the table, did I know I was going to clean it up before? No, it just happened. So I say, oops, I'll grab a tissue. But if I bought tickets for a concert next month, did I know about it before? Yes, I did. So I say, I'm going to see my favorite band next month. It works perfectly every single time.
It really does. It saves you from pausing mid-sentence to remember grammar terms. Just ask yourself, was it planned or is it a reaction?
This has been such a helpful chat, Alex. I think our listeners are going to feel much more confident using these two future forms now. No more guessing.
I hope so. Remember, don't worry if you make a mistake. Native speakers will still understand you perfectly either way. The more you listen to natural English, the more your brain will just pick up the right rhythm. Well, that brings us to the end of today's episode of the Easy English Podcast. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Keep practicing, keep listening, and we will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye, everyone.